Welcome to another episode of the Doctors Building Wealth podcast. Today, I'm really excited to have a good friend, Erwan Le Roy, joining us today. Erwan and I share the same coach, and my coach introduced me to him because he had this incredible story of swimming the English Channel, which we're going to get into. But this was all in the context of setting goals and setting really big goals. And that's why she shared the story, and that's why she connected me to him. And so I'm really excited to share your story and also share your entrepreneurial journey as well. So welcome, Erwan.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, both of you. Great to see you.
So Erwan, let's start out with your entrepreneurial story. So can you tell everyone a little bit about your background, how you became an entrepreneur?
Yes. So my background, so originally I'm from France, from the Cognac region in north of Bordeaux. And I came to the US for my first job about 21 year ago. And I started to work in tech, so big companies. And that time I was just applying my education to large tech companies, but I always had an itch to do something else, something on the side to create my own passive income. So I don't just work for a big company, all my life. And my parents were both teachers, and so working paycheck to paycheck. And I wanted to very early on identify how can I break this pattern. Even though I was in big tech companies, I knew I could end up at 65, 70, and maybe still be in a big tech company. So how can I early on try to make that shift and invest in something? I didn't know what at that time. So I decided to find some online courses, some seminars in real estate, where they have like these 25 CDs and type of courses, and just trying to pick up my interest. And my very first entrepreneurial journey in the US was when I rented my first property in San Jose. Like, hey, there is a garage there, it's empty. Maybe I can sublease my garage. I mean, I had no money really to buy another property at that point. But maybe I could sublease it. And I was 25 years old, and I asked my landlord. I was trying to convince her, hey, can I rent it to somebody? And she said no. And I said, but hey, I can maybe help to make a little bit of money. That would help me tremendously. And she finally said yes. And it was like $100 a month. Not much, but that was the very beginning where I could start my entrepreneurial journey.
That's so cool because, when Kenji and I first started investing in real estate in 2015 together, one of the first things we did that year was we would buy properties that were like duplexes, and we would start renting out the garage to a separate tenant. And back then, all the property managers were saying that's not done, like people don't do it here. And we had a lot of pushback. Luckily, we had read a book, and so that guy in the book was doing it. So we're like, we know this is possible. But you had this idea so early on. It's almost like a Airbnb and garage rental kind of idea together. Tell us about how that went and how that led to your next step.
Yeah, so I was very happy to get that cash flow, and I got like a taste, that taste of passive income. It's like, hey, I'm going to work every day, and while at my work, my garage is working for me for $100 a month. This is pretty cool. How can I do more? And fortunately, at that time, I didn't have really the amount of cash to invest in a new property. So I would just be saving. And I didn't have my primary home. And I felt like I need to have my primary home before I buy other properties to have more passive income. So in only 2 years in the US, I saved just enough money to buy my first primary residence. I was 27, and I was like looking at the map and the real estate in the Silicon Valley, and where is the cheapest? It was Newark, California. Maybe you never heard of Newark, California, but it's not the best part of the Silicon Valley. Now it went up, but it was cheaper for a reason. So fast forward 2 years later, I could buy my first property, even though at that time I could get a 30 years loan, and it would give you a loan even though I had an H-1B visa. So I was supposed to be in the US for 7 years, but the bank will still give a loan for 30 years. So figure out. But so that was a risk I took. And I said, worst case scenario, I resell it. But I just invested in my first property. It was hard. I probably visited, I don't know, 500 homes, 3 different agents. They got tired of me. Had a hard time to make the decision. Maybe I wish I had made the decision sooner. But for me, when I look back, it was so important to invest as soon as I could, just to be in the system, build the equity, buy this property. It was like a 450,000 home. Nothing fancy, but it was still, for me, it was single at that time. It was a 3-bedroom, not in a fancy neighborhood. A lot of retired people. I went to the grocery stores, like, well, everybody's retired here. So it's like the only European in town. But I got in real estate early on. And then it was not passive income, but it was equity building while I go to work at my daytime job. And to me, that was it was a learning experience in the sense like I can build wealth, I can be in the system just by owning a property, even though it's not a big property. And that was the catalyst later on to use that equity to do something better with it for cash flow.
Yeah, and I want to take this sidebar and hear about decision making, because you hinted on that was the first step and the first decision that you made, and it took a while. Can you talk to us quickly before we go back to your story about decision making and how you've thought of that over the last few years, and any sort of skills or knowledge that you've gained that might be helpful to other entrepreneurs to hear from you about decision making?
Yeah, decision making in this case, I mean, there was a lot of fear to make that jump with the visa duration, and also what if it becomes a bad investment? So a lot of fear, and that kind of delayed a bit that investment. So yes, it was only 2 years since I arrived in the US, but I could have made a decision sooner. But it's when I decided, like, I'm not going to let my fear drive me, because fear was just BS in a way that even if I had to sell the property, I can get the money back. Like, there's not really a downside in investing in real estate in the Silicon Valley. It's not like the market was going to crash dramatically, especially at that time in 2003. It was a bad timing in 2008, maybe, but not in 2003. And over the years, it's still a safe investment. So I think in a decision-making, fear was the thing that I would definitely try to minimize. And now every day I ask myself, when I have a big goal, learning from that experience, do I have fear? Do I have doubt? And instead of that, do you have like absolute certainty and do an incantation about, I mean, every single day I do an incantation where I can build this absolute certainty on my goals. But at the time, 27, I didn't have those tools. So fear kind of delayed. And also the paralysis analysis that I kept analyzing properties, market, but I was all fed by the fear, maybe too delayed. So when the decision is made to enter the real estate and to build passive income, at some point it's just do it and be self-aware. Like, do I have fear slowing me down? And is this really true? Asking myself, is that fear really true? And just pausing and maybe being in a room and thinking for 10 minutes about, okay, I have this fear. Is this really true? And just wait for the answers. And oftentimes it's just not true. It's just purely made up.
So reasoning it out, thinking about whether or not it's really true, and then using incantations where you repeat that same statement over and over again to build that inner certainty that allows you to move forward despite fear and despite discomfort. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what brought certainty and creating, visualizing. To me, that's what I use now in all of those goals, visualizing the end results. Just saying like it's done. There is certainty about it and feeling it every single day. I mean, I do every morning the Tony Robbins priming that has this exercise where at the end, and I always love the last part where for the top 3 goals, like I experience it, I feel it as if it's done. And that just gives me back certainty. And for some reason, the laws of attractions, things start to happen. I get guidance. I get calls from people I haven't heard for like 5-10 years. So it's very fascinating when we bring that certainty into our life and visualizing the end goals.
So you bought this home. What was the next step? Did you buy an investment property or short-term rental?
Not yet. I bought a home and then enjoyed it. I was like, can you imagine, I was single guy, 3-bedroom home, a yard. That was kind of to me, it was the American dream. 27, you have a home. There was a koi pond in the backyard. Like, oh my gosh, I have a koi pond and it's like a small waterfall. It's like, to me, it was paradise. The environment was not that great. It was more of a retirement neighborhood. But I was very happy to be there. So I continued my day job. And as you know, in a lot of those tech jobs at the end of the year, you have a small bonus. I just saved it. And I was accumulating some equity, but I was at that time safely losing money. And it's part of the mindset in my culture in France, where we save money, even though it's less than the inflation, we're happy about it. We have certainty. It's like I had certainty I'm losing money every year because the interest rate I get on the saving account is less than the inflation. And but I realized, I remember a financial advisor said, you're from Europe, right? Yeah, you're safely losing money. Like, okay, well, there'll be something about this money. It's not good. But I had no idea about what to invest it in, yet in other real estate properties and so on. But I was in tech, so I launched a small tech company that did not really succeed. I did not make money from it, but I had a lot of fun. And I was in a diamond business. And I was using in my tech job kind of a nanosurgery technique to fix semiconductor chips. Like if a semiconductor chip is broken, it's like a nano beam that would fix the chip. It's called a focused ion beam. And I use this technology to apply it for a completely different industry, in the diamond industry. And I wanted to put, let's say, your photo inside a diamond. And my slogan was memories are forever. So I could put your photo for a wedding inside a diamond forever. And I used a small viewer, people can see it. And it was also a security feature. And I was like certain I would go to trade shows, I pitched it, and I got a lot of excitement into it. And then I went to the religious markets, because like pendant for people who are Catholic, they would want to have like Jesus inside a diamond on the cross that is in the center. And I would go to trade shows and I would have big slogan. I say, come see Jesus, and because they can see Jesus inside the small diamond, and then they would buy it. So I did sell some, but it was not the big money maker. The issue there was the ease of use of the viewer, the tiny viewer to see it. I could see it, but the regular consumer needs to see it. They're not necessarily from the tech world, and they had too much training. But that was kind of what I tried. And like, well, it's hard to make money with it. And I did talk to some companies about the security features, not just the photos inside the diamond. So that part, like, okay, at least I know that doesn't work. I can't make money on that. And at some point I had to retire the idea. So that's not all ventures did work in the entrepreneurial work.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you said I didn't make any money, but I had a lot of fun. So most people would not say that. Most people would have seen it as a failure and had a lot of emotions, a lot of negative emotions about it. So tell me why you don't, and tell me how that actually helped you long run.
Yeah, because it was kind of a trailblazing activity. No one's been there, so I was like so excited. I say, hey, I can. First, I had a press release, and really surprised the industry, the diamond industry, that can be done. So it was some of it in Tony Robbins' world was a bit of visibility or significance. Like, hey, I'm this guy coming from France. I'm 28 years old, and I'm getting publicity about me putting photos into a diamond. So that was fun. And also the upside that I could see was fun, doing my very first website, promoting it with Facebook ads. I learned about online marketing, which is something I still use for a different business in real estate, but that's how I started to learn other skills. So the business itself did not succeed, but the skills I learned, I still learn today, and I'm mature today. And that's also how I had fun. It's about who I became through that process, and not just did I make money or not. That was very important. And as Tony said, like, life happens for you, not to you. Well, there's a lot of lessons from that time, skills, planted a seed early on, even though they may not seem as success or failures at the time, but planting those seeds learning every day in the business, even though it was not just about diamond, it was about marketing. It was about making a website. It was new skills that 15, 20 years later, I can still use.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is it's not who you become that matters. One of my favorite quotes that I love is it's not what you get that matters, it's who you become in the process. And it's a Jim Rohn quote.
Yeah.
So tell me, when did the real estate journey start? Your
So
investing journey start?
yeah, so it started when I really wanted to move to San Francisco from New York. At some point, I was like, okay, New York. After 7 years in New York, I've got to move to San Francisco, and I commute back to the Silicon Valley in San Jose. It was like an hour commute, but I got to move in San Francisco. It's more fun, more exciting, more vibrant. So I make the move to San Francisco, and then what do? I rent my property in New York. So I had the first experience of tenants. And with the ups and downs of tenants, well, where's the rent? Like, why is the rent not coming? About this, this is broken. You got to fix it. Well, I don't want to pay for it. Yes, you do. So all these questions with tenants, I start to have, and I start realizing after it was like a year and a half of having long-term tenants. Well, it's great. They're paying for my mortgage, and the maintenance, but I don't make any money from it. So I had this equity, and I was like, probably about 300K equity in the property. I'm like, great. I mean, I didn't have 300K on my bank account at that time, but I have it in the property, right? But I can't touch it. And I have a long-term tenant who is not making me any money. So, okay, maybe I need to find some solution on that. But I leave it in the back burner. I don't take action right away about it. But I have a friend who tells me at that time, hey, I'm investing in Paris for this new company and Airbnb, and you can buy something in Paris. And I was like, whoa, Paris, that's music to my ears. I always thought buying Paris before I see my parents. What if I had an Airbnb? I can rent it on Airbnb and I can use it whenever I want. I block the days, fantastic. So here I go. I go to Paris. And I start visiting properties, and they're like 10, 12 square meters. That's all I could afford. They're tiny. It's like way too tiny. It's like, well, I can't. It's way too tiny. I can't really rent it, make money with it. So I wait another year, and then I have more money to invest. Now I can look for bigger properties, 20, 25 square meter, and I finally pulled the plug and have my very first Airbnb properties. That was 10 years ago. I bought my first Airbnb, and I was so excited about it. I had to do a big renovation. I renovated with my dad, who loves doing all kind of renovating projects, kind of a joint project with my dad that we do. And I then learned that, well, I went a bit too fast. I cannot do Airbnb in Paris. It's not legal. There's some restrictions. There's some regulations. So, oops, like that's a problem. So I learned the hard way, get some letters from the city of Paris, and I had to stop. So now I can only rent it for 30 nights minimum. So it's not as profitable. But that taught me to really learn better on like the due diligence. When my first property, maybe I went too slow. That one, maybe I went too fast, or I didn't have the right due diligence items in my list. And one big one is the zoning, the regulations, or what is the risk that even though the regulation is okay, what is the risk that is going to change in the coming future? And that's a very important thing in vacation rentals. Today, people ask me, where is the best place to invest that allows Airbnb? It is the wrong question. It's the wrong question. They should be asking, where is it heavily regulated today? Meaning the regulations are mature, but within that city, the correct zoning for hospitality that allows Airbnb. So this investment in Paris taught me one of the greatest lessons for vacation rental investment. Invest where the supplies is limited and where there is a lot of regulations, where within those regulations where you're allowed to invest, but everybody else can't. And that's where my properties, we'll talk about this, like in Maui and Napa Valley, heavily regulated markets. But I'm in a condo hotel or in a resort, in a hospitality zoning. So Paris taught me that. Painful lesson, but I'm very grateful about it. This year, we're going to use I have 2 properties there. We're going to use them with my family for the Olympic Games. So we'll block the days. So I'm super grateful I have them. So now it's not about making money in Paris, but also enjoying it. And that was like a surprise gift for my family. They all got an envelope. I was like, what is this? Like, no gift. It's just an envelope. Yes, an envelope. Just open it. And they open it and say, oh, we got 2 tickets for the Olympic Games and free accommodation. They were happy. So that was, to me, that was a priceless gift I can give them.
That's amazing. Can you tell everyone, across your portfolio of rental properties now, where are you today?
Yeah, so today I'm in 5 different markets. My main market is in Maui, and the second market I have is in Napa Valley, so north of San Francisco, for all the wine tasting tourists. I'm in Miami, and more recently in the US Virgin Islands. This is my latest markets, and in France. And in France, it's like Paris and the French Riviera.
Okay. So what Kenji really wanted to make sure people heard about was your decision to swim the English Channel, your why behind it. So can you tell everyone a little bit of the story behind this decision and how you went about doing it?
Yeah. So that was in 2021, so not too long ago. I decided to swim the English Channel just a year before. There are two main drivers. It was during COVID time, so everything was closed, and I could not go to the gym. As you know, we had a lockdown, so to exercise and to be in peak state, the only thing it was open was the ocean, the bay, and yes, it was cold, but at least I could swim outside, even though everything was locked down. But also, at that time, my mom got diagnosed with lung cancer, and it was not looking good at all. They would not call it terminal officially, of course, to the family, but it was in the apex region, the size of a tennis ball. And as your doctors, in the lungs, you don't feel anything until it's probably a bit too late. Like, it was really pushing on nerves. And when she said to feel some pain, they did some X-ray. It was not looking good. So where focus goes, energy flows. So I was thinking to my mom, how can I shift her focus to something that's going to excite her, scare her a little bit, but so she doesn't just think about her treatment every single day. So I remember talking to my Tony Robbins coach that we share, the same coach at that time, that, hey, this is the situation. I'd like to also challenge myself during COVID, and my and like, what could you do more and do something outside of your comfort zone? I was like, well, I've always wanted to maybe swim the English Channel, but I barely know how to swim. This is a big goal. It's crazy. It's outside of your comfort zone. So like, yeah, this is it. If it scares you, it's outside your comfort zone. Just sign up. So then the next day, I remember I'm contacting some boats there, because you cannot swim by yourself. You have to follow a boat, and there's only about 10 boats that officially can help you cross the English Channel from UK to France. And everything sold out. And I'm like, okay, well, life happens for me. To me, it's not meant to be. I'm not going to swim it. And then 2 weeks later, they say, well, somebody canceled. It's going to be in October. So actually, end of September, the 4th slot, with the end of the season. It's like the worst slot. People don't want this slot because it's the coldest. The nights are long. And if you're the 4th slot, I mean, the 1st slot goes first the week, then 2nd slot, then 3rd and 4th. So if the weather is not good, you don't even go. Like, you can train all year, you don't even go. So like, I got the 4th slot the last week of September. It's like, great. But you know what? I'm gonna take it. So here I pay. It was $5,000. I pay. And then I called my coach, like, hey, I signed up for the English Channel. So she was so happy. And then like, okay, but I got to know how to swim better, because the people that they swim and they look like they're drowning and a lot of water. That's me. So like, I got to have the right team in place. So then it's about, and probably applicable to anything in those projects in life, but how can I connect with the best people in this field? And I literally go online and I Google, who is the best English Channel swimmer? and I see the same name coming, like the entire page is filled out. Sarah Thomas, Sarah Thomas, Sarah Thomas. So I'm like, I guess I got to contact Sarah Thomas. And then I see, I follow her on Facebook, and I see she just opened a coaching program. She's going to coach swimmer. But I'm not an Olympic swimmer. I didn't even learn how to swim in school. So I'm going to contact her, see what happens. I contact her, and she replies. It was very early on when she just opened her coaching program. Life happens for you, not to you. It's like, I guess it's meant to be. She just opened it. I contact her, and I'm one of the first people she talks to. And I tell her, this is what I do. And she tells me honestly, you know, I feel bad to take your money for this program, coaching program, because you have very limited open water experience. You want to swim the English Channel in a year. People train 2, 3, 4 years in advance, and they have a lot of open water experience. I mean, it's going to be very hard. And the weather and the temperature when you want to do it is probably the worst of the year during the season. You know, let's do it. Let's just sign up for it. So I hire her, and then I have to hire a nutritionist specialist in open water swimming in Australia, because I had to gain like about 20 pounds for it to survive the cold, but to do it in a healthy way. And you're always battling not to lose weight. Some people want to lose weight. For the English Channel, you want to battle not to lose weight, so you have enough weight and the right balance of muscles and weight so you can move forward, but also you can be protected from the cold. And then I hired 2 massage therapists, one physical therapist, and I had a mental coach that we shared from Tony Robbins. And then I had to hire a coach to be on the boat to coach me with the feedings and so on. So that was the entire team to start this journey for the English Channel.
So this is not only a lot of money, this is a ton of your time and then also risk. So tell us why it was worth it to you and why you were willing to go through this discomfort and then also cost and effort for it.
Yeah, I mean, I had the drive because I had a big why with my mom. If it was just, and even today when I see this crossing, I could not have done it without having a big why, and a why that is beyond myself. And that's very important to have this drive. And for my mom, I had like one story in mind. Like when we talk about priming, visualizing the end result, every day when I do priming, I would see myself finishing, swimming from UK to France. It would be a beautiful sunset. I would feel the sand on my feet. I would have my arms up. I finished. My dad would be there. My mom, she was going treatment, so she could not be at the location. But I would pick up a pebble on the beach as a symbol of strength, of hope for my mom, and I would bring it to my mom. And that pebble was like becoming the symbol for me to cross English Channel, pick up a pebble, and bring it to my mom. And that was the why, that was the drive. And then every day I would think, of course, about that. But also it put me in peak state because swimming is good for you. I mean, I feel fantastic, even personally better than if I run or go on an elliptical bike or any other form of exercise. I think swimming is probably best for me than yoga. That's how I feel fantastic. So that was an additional motivation. And then the third drive, of course, the big why is my mom, but the third drive was to track. I was tracking every day. Like some people track their calories and so on. For me, I was tracking how much I swim every day, and I could send it to my coach. I was being monitored and somebody to check back with me. Okay, you swam like 50K or 30K this week. I mean, for the year, I had trained for 1,500 kilometers. So it's like about 800 miles a swim in the pool, in open water. And we had a ramp. I had the coach, Sarah Thomas, who is like the world best swimmer in the world. She crossed the English Channel. I mean, listen carefully. It's just crazy to want to think about it. She crossed the English Channel 4 times nonstop for 54 hours. 54 hours in a swimsuit. She swam it 4 times. So like if she's done it 4 times, maybe she can teach me to do it once. So that's why I call her. But I would track on like what I swim, the kilometers, and I would send her on a weekly basis, and we will have calls to check in. So to have this feedback loop with coaches, of course, Sarah Thomas, my Tony Robbins coach, my nutritionist, to see what works, what doesn't. Let's do 2 mm shift. I have pain in my shoulder, or I didn't gain enough weight, or I lost weight. So we would always adjust, but there was very regular, like really regular checkup that we would have every week, every other week, depending on the coach.
Now you've got this short-term rental portfolio, so you've got a business as well. So how did you balance both of these? And I don't even mention, like, your social life and family.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, it was a challenge to. I would swim very early in the morning because I had my job back then. I was working at Amazon, and Amazon is not known to give you a lot of free time. So I had to swim. I would wake up at like 3:30 in the morning. It was COVID, so a lot of the pools were closed. There's only one pool in the North Bay. I would have to drive. So I crossed the Golden Gate Bridge every day just to drive there. So I can start my day around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. For work. And I would do my big swims the weekend. And for my portfolio, that's when I started to really try to shift from an operator to an owner. And that's super important. I mean, in any business, we hear we should become an owner. But this is when I realized I really have to become an owner. I had no choice. That's when I had no choice. I started to make it happen. Hired a team, hired people, started to train them, and I continued to invest. I mean, that year when I trained for English, I bought 2 properties, and my partner Sophie, she was very nice to go to the one in Maui. That I've never stayed there actually. I bought it now about 3 years ago. I haven't seen the property, but she went. I bought it on paper. I had my agent I trust, and then she set it up with my team on site with all the furniture and stuff that I bought from Amazon. So I had to have a team, in other words, to make it happen and juggle everything. And my relationship had to be supportive. If you say, well, the English channel, it sucks, so you're doing, you want me to do this installation for you to make money for you. No, I had a very supportive and loving relationship, and that was very important to get the support from friends and family.
Wow. Wow. Now, what about, I've been curious, I've been wanting to ask you, do you have another big goal that you've set for yourself?
After the English channel, not yet. I have a big goal now to become even more accountable. The English channel, there was a producing company that followed the entire journey. So there is a documentary. It's a feature-length documentary on it, and to me, it's very meaningful to me because my mom is on it. She was, as a hobby, singing, so she's singing in the documentary. We can see her receiving the pebble. And fortunately, my mom passed away 9 months after I finished the English channel. But it was one of the intense experience she could have towards the end of her life. But now it's about her legacy. And the big project I have is to launch the documentary. It's submitted to various festivals, and to give like literally 100% of the money from that documentary to cancer research and smoking cessation. I mean, the smoking got her. It's don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out with lung cancer, but it's a passion of mine now to have like teenagers, kids to stop smoking. Also with all the vaping that's going on, to get more education. So I want the documentary to fund this, and I'm also using all my short-term rentals where I share a percentage of the free cash flow every single month to cancer research and to smoking cessation. Some of the 2 programs that are important to me.
Is this documentary, is it something available for people right now, or is it going to be available in the future?
It will be available in the future. There is a trailer. It is called Swimming Home, and it's a feature-length documentary. And yeah, this is a big year because it's about, now it's finished with post-production. It was a big project, not just to make it, but the post-production. I did not realize my first documentary as a producer, so I didn't know there's so many people that involved in making a documentaries and revisions. So now it's done. Happy that and grateful that I can share the story with my mom. And it's really a love connection story, mother, son, the struggle with cancer, and the adversity, and of course the inspiration to have a big goal to achieve it, to support somebody who is facing such illness. But now it's really a legacy I want to give back. And the fact each time I see it, I start crying when I hear my mom singing in it. And it's towards the end when I approach the French coast where I know I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna land in France. And she starts singing on the documentary. To me, it's always very emotional. I want to share the story to everybody.
Beautiful. So beautiful. I want to ask for anyone listening to this who's just starting their entrepreneurial journey, any kind of words of wisdom that you have from your journey, and then also this experience of setting this huge goal and then going out and doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it from Richard Branson. I think if you're not scared with your goal, it's not big enough of a goal. It really has to be a big goal that is really stretched outside of your comfort zone. And today I can probably list like a lot of goals I could do, like buying some other single unit condos and so on. But now I'm going for bigger commercial properties, maybe number of units I never bought before, maybe new locations. But it can be for any goals. Like it's a big enough goal. Of course, there is a big why. I mean, that's very important. There is no why if it's just to make money. If swimming the English Channel is just for me, I can guarantee you I would have stopped in the middle. And I still don't know honestly how I finished, because I know how I felt in the middle, and I was done. That's it. And I looked in front of me and I see the horizon. There's no friends in sight. And then it's grace. It's like what makes me finish is that big why. So to come to your question, is really have a big why that is above yourself, setting a big goal that that scares you a bit. And when I talk to my coach now, she can see when I'm trying to go back into certainty, into my comfort zone, setting a goals. Like, no, I can add a 0 to this to contribute more. I can set a bigger goal that it's going to be a bit scary. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day if it's really finished or not, but it's really who you become in that process. And what are the skills I had to learn that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't set such big goal. So of course we want to finish the goal, but that's really the process, the journey, and who do we have to become, what identity we had to build. And for Meeting English Channel, I had to build a new identity. And when I set a goal, now I always go back into who I was to swim the English Channel. And because I can go back in somebody who wants to be in a comfort zone, but I had to become somebody else to that probably within me, but was sleeping to then swim the channel. So build that identity. It's all is within you already. It's just like make sure it's identified, it's built, nurtured, and that's aligned with whatever big goal you want to set.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is so valuable, especially with so many in our community setting their goals. We always talk about you have to set a why, strong why, and I love how you kind of put in there. It can't be just about yourself. It's got to be outside of yourself, and I think that's a really, really valuable lesson from that. Amazing. So 2 questions that we ask all of our guests, and we're going to ask you. The first one is, what is your definition of wealthy?
Wealthy, for me, is feeling at peace and aligned with my values and giving back to what really matters. What really matters. Of course, for me, I'm talking about like cancer research funding, but it's being really at peace and aligned with my values and my relationship, and knowing that I'm making an impact, I'm making a difference in the world. I mean, at this point in my career and in my life, where having one more property is not going to change my lifestyle. I'm not going to be more wealthy with a bigger bank account, but I know I can make a bigger difference in people's life, and that's how I can become more wealthy. And that's really the drive today.
And what is one habit, strategy, or mindset that separates someone who is wealthy versus someone who is not?
I think it's a trap that I felt into before, is not going for significance for yourself. If it's really about you buying a bigger car, buying a bigger house, trying to post that you have a new asset, a new toy, and you post it on Facebook and have more likes. That's going to be, I think, very disappointing, and you're going to feel the pain. So a big difference is somebody is going to go for contribution, love, connection, and growth. Those are going to be the three main values that would drive someone who's truly wealthy. That's someone who just want to go for significance. That's going to be very short-lived.
Erwan, it's been such a pleasure to hear your story and to have all that you've shared with people here. If somebody wants to follow up and learn more about what you're doing, where would you send them?
Yeah, so I have a website called cashflowstreet.com if they want to learn about vacation rentals, or if they want to see where I invested, if it inspires them. It's called bijougetaways.com, and my vacation rental business, coaching business called cashflowstreet.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Such incredible insights and sharing about goal setting with people. So I think they're going to walk away having a much clearer vision of why to set big goals and how to have a really strong why, and entrepreneurship in general. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I think great to be here. Great to be with both of you.